I will narrate today about neoplasia. The series of lectures which we learn about neoplasia will be narrated by me. I'm Dr. Shamim Sheikh, working as an associate professor in Department of Pathology and Pisha Medical College. Neoplasia is something which is new to the body. Neo means something new to the body. So in the introductory part of neoplasia, we'll see what exactly the neoplasia is and what is the nomenclature, what is the classification of the neoplasia. The terminology, if we want to understand, the neoplasia is something which is related to new, as I have told, new growth. The growth which is new in a body, which is autonomous in a body, and it is over in a response that is known as neoplasia. It is autonomous growth with the loss of response to the growth controls. We have growth controls in our body. That growth controls are being lost in the neoplasia. In an overall neoplasia series of the lectures, we will learn about definitions, nomenclature, biology of tumor growth, epidemiology, molecular basis of cancer, molecular basis of carcinogenesis, agents which are causing cancer, that means etiological factors which are causing cancer, host defense, the tumor immunity which is there in our body, and clinical features of the tumors. Now, as your whole curriculum is a competency-based curriculum, and your medical education is named as a competency-based medical education. In that case, there are few competencies which we will cover in our neoplasia lectures. Competency PA 7.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is given by NMC in the new curriculum, that is CPME curriculum, in which the pathology 7.1 to 7.5 that we will cover under neoplasia lecture. Now, how to define neoplasia? A neoplasm is an abnormal mass of a tissue, the growth of which exceeds and is uncoordinated with that of normal tissue, and it persists in the same excessive manner after cessation of the stimuli which has evoked it. See, this definition has important terms in it. One, it is an abnormal mass of a tissue. It is not normal. Second, its growth is autonomous and uncoordinated with that of normal tissue. That's why it is an abnormal mass. And it has some stimuli to grow. There should be some stimuli. The growth control cessation stimuli are there which evoke that abnormal growth. So there is a stimuli. Which type of stimuli? Which is known as the part of a carcinogenesis, which we will learn. And after cessation of the stimuli, that change remains in the same excessive manner. So these are the good terms, or these are the important terms which is important for the definition of the nomenclature or a classification of the neoplasia. If we want to learn, the neoplasm is mainly classified into two broad categories. One is benign and one is malignant. Now, malignant is further classified into carcinoma and sarcoma. So this is a broad nomenclature or a broad classification of the neoplasia. Now, benign tumor. Any benign tumor which has the suffix OMA, OMA, that suggests benign neoplasm. Benign tumors are divided into two: mesenchymal tumors and epithelial tumors. The tumors which are arising from the mesenchyma from the supporting tissue is known as mesenchymal tumors, and the another origin of the benign neoplasm is epithelial tumors. Now, if it is arising from the cartilage, it is known as chondroma. If it is arising from the fibrous tissue, then it is fibroma. If it is arising from the bone, then it is osteoma. If it is involving the epithelial tissue and arising from the glands, it is known as adenoma. If it is having a papillae-like projection, then it is named as a papilloma. Or if the projection is a single tumor-like projection, tumor itself is a projection, then it is known as polyp. Polyp is also always benign. Now, it is not a watertight rule that oma suffix suggests benign neoplasm. There are certain exceptions. Those exceptions are like lymphoma. Lymphoma is a malignant tumor of the lymphoid tissue. So it is not always so that the oma suffix says that benign, but most of the time it happens like that. See, this is a leiomyoma. It's a fibroid. It is also known as fibroid. It arises from the uterine smooth muscles. So, it is a benign neoplasm. The multiple things you see is a leiomyomas. They are benign tumor arising from the smooth muscle cells of the uterus. Adenoma, it is in the intestine, a well-defined nodule which is arising from the glandular tissue. Papilloma, you can see the finger-like projections. That's why this papillary projection has named it as a papilloma. Now, nomenclature of the malignant tumor. Sarcomas and carcinomas. Again, from the origin of the tumor. If it is arising from the mesenchyma, then it is a sarcomas, and if it is arising from the epithelial tumor, then it is carcinoma. Now, sarcomas are arising from the mesenchymal tumor. If it is arising from the cartilage, then it is known as chondrosarcoma. From the fibrous tissue, then it is fibrosarcoma. When it is arising from the bone, it is known as osteosarcomas. These are malignant tumor. If the malignant tumors arising from the epithelial component, then they are known as carcinoma, like adenocarcinoma arising from the glands. Squamous cell carcinoma from the squamous cells. Some are having undifferentiation. What is differentiation and what is undifferentiation? That we will see in a subsequent part of a lecture. See, this is adenocarcinoma. When you have seen the adenoma, it has a well-defined module, a well-capsulated nodule was there. Here, the adenocarcinoma is irregular in the shape. The boundaries, the borders are irregular and infiltrating into the other normal tissue. This is squamous cell carcinoma. See, this squamous cell carcinoma has a squamous cell forming a keratin pearl formation. So it arising from the squamous cell. That's why it is known as squamous cell carcinoma. This is adenocarcinoma. You can see the glands in it. These glands are from the glandular tissue, because the carcinoma which is arising from the glandular tissue is known as adenocarcinoma. That's why you can see the gland in it. There are certain other terminology like tumors with mixed differentiation. Mixed tumors are pleomorphic adenoma of the salivary gland, teratoma of the ovary, teratoma of the testis. This the teratoma arising from the more than one germ layer. It arises from the totipotent cells. So it commonly seen in the ovary, but it can be seen in a testis as well. Most commonly, the gonads are involved. So these are the certain tumors having a mixed differentiation. In a pleomorphic adenoma, you see the proliferation of the mesenchyma as well as glandular or a epithelial tissue proliferation. That is, if it is a malignant, and if you see epithelial and a mesenchymal component, that is commonly known as carcinosarcoma. See, this is teratoma of the ovary. It shows the differentiation of teeth, differentiation of the hair follicle, differentiation of the sebaceous tissue, differentiation of the squamous cells. So multiple differentiation is there. That's why it is known as mixed tumor, because it arises from more than one germ layer. When you see microscopically, you can see the cartilage, you can see mature adipose tissue, you can see mature sebaceous gland, you can see mature glands as well as the mesenchymal proliferation. So this is mature teratoma. Certain aberrant differentiation, which is not true neoplasm, but still they mimic as a neoplasm, they mimic as a growth, like hematoma. Hematoma is disorganized mass of a tissue, cell types of which are indigenous to the site of the lesion. And choriostoma, it's an ectopic focus of the normal tissue. It is also known as heterotropia. Hematoma confined to the same tissue, but it is a disorganized mass, while choriostoma is a normal tissue at an abnormal site. It is also known as a heterotropia. Certain mesonomers, like if as I have told you, that you cannot say that if OMA suffix is there, it is always a benign tumor. Hepatoma is a malignant liver tumor. Melanoma is a malignant skin tumor. Seminoma is a malignant testicular tumor. As I have told you, lymphoma is a malignant tumor of lymphoid cells. So these are the misnomers. Though they look like a benign, their names look like a benign tumor, but they are malignant tumors. Now when you see this picture, you see so many bad guys in it. So that means if cells look bad, they are not benign. See, these people are looking very well behaved. Like if the cells look good, they are mostly benign. So this is a basic difference which you can remember by this picture. See, these are a well organized fascicles of the fibrous tissue. These are good, nice, smooth muscle cells arranged in a fascicles having no other abnormality. They don't look bad by the appearance. So they are benign. When we see benign versus malignant, mostly the malignant growth is unregulated. Though benign is also unregulated, but the ability to invade or metastasize is there in a malignant tumor. The differentiation, they don't look like a normal cells. They lose their differentiation, which is there in a malignant cells. The growth of malignant tumor are fast and a benign is small. Recurrence is very common with the malignant tumors, and malignant tumors can cause death. That we mostly see that a cancer which causes death. Cancer is a layman language for the malignant tumors. Neoplasia involves both the thing benign and malignant. But the cancer is a term which is commonly used for the malignancy. So when we see benign versus malignant tumor, the schematic diagram, there's a lumen. If we see the growth, this growth will not go beyond the basal lamina. While in a malignant tumor, it goes beyond the basal lamina, it breaks the basal lamina and it goes and it invades the other tissue. So the benign and malignant is commonly known as the benign is well defined and it does not break the basal lamina. It won't invade in a local part as well as in the distant metastasis, but the malignant goes locally also, it spreads and it goes out of it. So differences between benign and malignant neoplasm, when we see the benign neoplasm has only the pushing border to the normal tissue, while malignancy, it breaks the normal tissue, it removes the normal tissue and it infiltrates locally as well as distantly. Now what is differentiation? The differentiation is resemblance of the neoplastic tissue with neoplastic cells with the normal cells. Morphologically, the cells which looks like a normal cells, then they are well differentiated. If the differentiation is lost, the morphology is not resembling to the normal cells, function is also lost, then it is known as lack of differentiation, and the lack of differentiation is termed as anaplasia. So anaplasia literally means lack of differentiation. Differentiation is classified. Differentiation has a classification and the differentiation is a prognostic marker. So if a well differentiated neoplasm has a good prognosis, it resembles the mature cells of the tissue of the origin. So they are well differentiated, and well differentiated has a good prognosis. Poorly differentiation, when they look like they lost the differentiation, they don't look like a mature cell, they look like a primitive cells. They become anaplastic, they become large, hyperchromatic. So that poor differentiation has a poor prognosis. So well differentiated, moderately differentiated and poorly differentiated, if we classify neoplasm like this, then it has you can have an idea of a prognosis of that particular tumor. See, this is well differentiated. You see that they are overgrown. This glandular tissue, the columnar cells are overgrown, but they have not break the basal lamina, one, and they are arranged in a good manner. They don't look like a bad manner. Then this is poorly differentiation. You can see there's no any pattern is seen, no proper arrangement is seen. The haphazardly arrangement cells are there. Cells are irregular in shape. The nuclear are large, bizarre somewhere, and somewhere they have lost the staining ability. Somewhere they are hyperchromatic. So this type of differentiation is known as poorly differentiated, the highly anaplastic tumor. So anaplasia means differentiation is lost. The degree, according to the degree of anaplasia, we can predict the prognosis of that particular malignancy. Anaplasia is a feature of malignancy. In a benign part, you will not see lack of differentiation. They look like a mature tissue. Now, dysplasia is a part of anaplasia. It is a feature of the anaplasia, which denotes a loss of architectural organization and the loss of cell uniformity in the epithelium. Pleomorphism, that means the size and a shape is different of a nuclei, that is a nuclear pleomorphism. Mitosis are more prominent. Mitotic figures, you can see the cells are dividing. They are in a more than one nuclei seen in a one cell. So the mitotic figures are prominent than the normal. They usually graded in a mild dysplasia, moderate dysplasia or severe dysplasia. Mild to moderate dysplasia is potentially reversible, but when it goes to the severe dysplasia or the carcinoma in situ or carcinoma itself, then it is irreversible process. See, this is a dysplasia. Dysplasia of the cervical epithelium. You can see disorganization. See, there's a disorganization, but they are still in a proper organization is there, they look like a mature squamous cell. They look like a original cervical epithelium. Though they are disorganized, but they have not lost their differentiation. Dysplasia, only dysplasia is non-neoplastic. Dysplasia may or may not progress to the cancer. So the dysplasia can be the precancerous lesion. This can be possible. What are the features of dysplasia? When we say that this particular tissue is dysplastic, when you see the nuclear pleomorphism, the hyperchromatic dark nuclei, high NC ratio, nuclear to cytoplasmic ratio has increased. That means the size of a nucleus has increased and the cytoplasm has remained same. Architecture of the tissue is disordered. Mitotic figures are abundant than the usual. These are the different features of dysplasia. This dysplasia, these features are a part of anaplasia. So when there is an anaplasia, you will see the features of dysplasia. How will you grade the tumor? According to the degree of differentiation, we grade the tumor. As I have told you, when we grade the tumor according to the degree of differentiation, then it affects the prognosis. Like if it is a well differentiated, the prognosis is good. Moderately differentiated, the prognosis is moderate. Poorly and undifferentiated tumor have poor prognosis. So this grading is for the therapeutic purpose as well. When it is undifferentiated and poorly differentiated tumor is there, you need an aggressive therapy. So according to the degree of differentiation of the tumor cell, we grade the tumor into well differentiated, moderately differentiated, poorly differentiated and undifferentiated. We can stage the tumor. Staging is very important when you are treating a patient, because according to the stage, the therapy is, the mode of therapy is decided. So the staging of the cancer is based on the size of the primary lesion, the spread of the regional lymph node and the presence and absence of the metastasis. According to that, one is a TNM system and one is a AGC system. TNM is tumor node metastatic system and an AGC system is also a system which is known as American Joint Committee system. But the TNM system is universally accepted because TNM is given by Union of International Cancer Committee, UICC. It is globally accepted system for the staging of carcinoma, staging of the cancer. AGC system is little simplified. So when we see that the TNM system is T is classified from T0 to T4 according to the size of the tumor. Regional lymph node involvement, it is classified from N0 to N3. Like if one node is involved, then N1, 2, N2. And when it is involved both the side of the diaphragm, if it is going on the reverse part of the spread, then it goes to N3. According to the site of metastasis, M0 to M2. So when we want to stage the tumor and we want to see which therapy is important for the patient, at that time we have to classify it as a TNM classification. It is a tumor node metastatic carcinoma, metastatic staging system for the cancer. AGC, American Joint Committee, has also given a staging, that is stage 0 to stage 4. According to the, it depends upon the growth, if primary growth is a larger in size, as well as it is also classified according to the nodal metastasis and a distant metastasis. So if a patient is having a nodal metastasis both the side of diaphragm and the distant metastasis more than 2 organs involved, then it is a stage 4. Stage 0, then it is a carcinoma which is only there in a primary site. So in that way, according to the severity of the tumor spread, this system will classify it. This is TNM classification. When you see the tumor size, the growth involving the small part of the mucosa, it is not going into other part, and when you see the stage C or the last stage, at that time it is involving mucosa and till serosa it has been involved and it has broken the capsule. So this is how we can see the staging of the tumor. What is invasion? Benign tumor usually grow by the small expansion. Malignant tumor usually infiltrate and it destroys the surrounding tissue. The cell surface and the extracellular matrix play important role because the cell surface has certain adhesion molecules, certain metalloproteinase, and the extracellular matrix is also have certain metalloproteinase that will facilitate the infiltration to the surrounding tissue. What is metastasis? Metastasis means malignancy. Benign tumor do not metastasize. It's a continuous spread of the tumor. Method of metastasis can be seeding through the body cavity, lymphatic spread, and hematogenous spread. Seeding to the body cavities means the lung carcinoma going into the pleura, the stomach carcinoma going through the peritoneal cavity to the ovaries. These are the example of seeding through the body cavities, the infiltration or the metastasis through the body cavities. Lymphatic spread through the lymphatics and hematogenous spread through the blood. See, this is a MRI of metastatic adenocarcinoma. You see the multiple metastatic light color nodules in the liver of the MRI scan. This suggests that there is a multiple metastasis in the liver of adenocarcinoma. See this. That was a MRI scan of this organ. This is liver having multiple small nodules varying in the size. It has metastasized into the liver. The adenocarcinoma of the GI tract commonly metastasizes into the liver. So the liver shows the multiple metastatic nodules. Now, what exactly the cancer can cause? How exactly the cancer can occur? How it spreads in our body? What is the mechanism of carcinogenesis? What is the mechanism? How the small part of the hyperplasia can grow into the metastatic cancer? Which are the different growth control system are working in our body, which loss of which can lead to cancer? That we will see in our subsequent lectures. So, to be continued, stay tuned. Thank you.